Hey students, my name's Tyler and I want to encourage you with some thoughts on birds. When I was younger, I used to think bird watching was kind of lame. Maybe something for old people or nerds. But during this pandemic, I confess I've been getting a little more into it. It's been a little more interesting to me to watch the birds, and they're not very affected by this thing. They're not quarantined, they're having a grand old time. And so I've just been watching them and thinking a little bit more about what God says about the birds in the Bible. And so there's really two things that I think the birds teach us about God. And the first is God's creativity. In Genesis 1:20 it says, God says, "Let the waters teem with living creatures and let the birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." So God created every winged bird according to its kind. God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful, increase in number, let the birds increase on the earth." And another one of my favorites, Psalm 104:12, "The birds of the sky nest by the waters, they sing among the branches." So birds are both beautiful and incredibly complex. They're so interesting to look at, to study. And one of my favorites is the hummingbird. It's one of the smallest things. It weighs about a nickel, and yet it consumes over twice its body weight every day in food. That would be like you or I eating around 300 pounds of bacon every day. That is a crazy amount of calories, and its wings function like a helicopter. This thing is more advanced than anything that human beings have been able to create. We don't even know how many bones are in the hummingbird because it's so small. And it's the complexity and the creativity that we see in birds like the hummingbird that points us back to the creator, the designer, and causes us to admire him more. The second thing we learn about God from the birds is his concern, his care for us. Luke 12:22 says, "Jesus said to his disciples, 'Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you'll eat, about your body, what you will wear. Consider the ravens. They don't sow or reap. They have no storerooms or barns, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than the birds?'" It reminds me one time Karina and I were at Chipotle, and we were sitting outside. And you know how it is when you start eating the burrito and it falls apart, the steak falls out, the beans, the rice falls out onto the concrete. And this huge bird, this fat bird, waddles out from underneath the bushes to kind of scoop up the Chipotle remains. And this thing was fat. I mean, but it wasn't a big bird. It was like a little bird with a huge bird beer belly, or maybe more of a burrito belly. But this thing, it was just hilarious how fat it was. And I mean, this was not gonna live a long life, this bird, but it was definitely gonna live a full life with all this Chipotle living large. And it was just a reminder that this bird was taken care of. And this is what Jesus says, that, hey, God takes care of the birds, and how much more is he gonna take care of us? He's gonna provide for us. And so we see with the birds, we see God's creativity, we see his concern for us. And so can I encourage you today, students, to take 5 minutes, to pull the headphones out, put the cell phone away, and to just listen to the birds, maybe take a walk, or whatever it takes to just reflect on the birds, who they are, and how they point to our great God.